let's talk about cost and quantity. Now, cost, also sometimes called total cost. If you hear cost or you hear total cost, think the same thing, is labeled with a capital C. And the other thing we'll talk about here is quantity. And that is going to be labeled with little x. So quantity is like the number of items. Let's make this real specific. Let's say you want to get into the business of making mugs. So you want to make mugs, right? You want to become a company that makes mugs and then sells them and tries to earn a profit. Well, what do you need? You're going to need to probably buy some supplies in the beginning, right? So for instance, you might need to buy the Mug Maker 5000. It makes mugs and that's it. It just makes mugs. That's all it does, right? So you might need to buy one of these. And let's just say that this machine costs you $10,000. Okay, so let's write that down. We got $10,000 for this machine. Have to buy that, but that's not it. Like, you just buy the machine, and that doesn't mean you have mugs, right? So it's a machine that makes mugs, sure, but I hope it makes sense that paying this $10,000 is going to be part of your cost, but there's going to be other costs. Like, shouldn't it make sense that if you want to make 10 mugs, it won't cost you as much as if you want to make 100 mugs? And if you want to make 1,000,000 mugs, it's going to cost you even more, right? So how do we model that? We have what's called a cost function, right? So we've got capital C and then of x. So we're creating a function here, C of x. And just to pick some nice numbers, I'll do this. 10,000 plus 2x. Okay, so C of x is equal to 10,000 plus 2x. So if we went ahead and computed C of 0, that is, you take this formula right here and you plug in 0 everywhere you see an x, you'll have 10,000 plus 2 times 0. That's just going to simplify to the number 10,000. Okay, and so x here, that's the quantity, that's the number of mugs. So in this case, 0 right there, that's the number of mugs. And the cost of making 0 mugs is $10,000. Does that make sense? What about the cost of making 1 mug? So if we went back to up here and plugged in 1 for where x is, you'd end up, I'll just simplify it, this ends up being 10,002. So $10,002. That's the cost of 1 mug. It's a pretty steep price for 1 mug, right? But let's say you do that. So $10,000 represents buying the machine, and then I guess you got to pay a $2 extra. So $10,002 in total, and then you have your machine, and out of your machine pops 1 mug, right? Okay, I had to pick mugs because this is a thing that I have several of lying around of the same thing around the house. Okay, just to make sure we're clear about this, I'd like to do 2 other real quick computations here. C of 2 would be $10,004. And we are not saying when it's C of 2 is $10,004. Okay, what we're not saying is that to make mugs, you have to pay $10,004 for this mug and you have to pay $10,004 for this mug. No, that's too expensive, right? Because then you're actually paying for the machine probably twice, right? What we're saying is that the 2 mugs together, if you want to make 2 mugs, in total it's going to cost you $10,004. To really try to get at that point, what we could do is we could compute 10,004 divided by 2. I did that in a calculator. Whoops, let's just slide this over here. 10,004 divided by 2, and that's going to give you $5,002. So that's this $5,002, that's what's called an average cost, right? So for the 2 mugs and the machine, right? $5,002 in total. Machine and 2 mugs. Sorry, $10,004 in total for the machine and the 2 mugs. So then if you think about like what was the cost if you had to make each mug pay for itself, it was $5,002. And just to make sure we're okay with that, let's do one other computation here. Let's go ahead and do C of 4. So C of 4. For C of 4, you got to go all the way back here, plug in 4 for x, and I used a calculator and got $10,008. So in total, if you end up spending $10,008, you would have a machine and the materials needed for the machine to produce 4 mugs. And so then in the end of that process, you'd have four mugs. So you pay $10,008 in total, not for every mug, right? You pay that amount and you'll have 4 mugs and you'll still have the machine. So then the average cost is 10,008 divided by 4. Run that through a calculator. I believe you'll get 2502. So $2,502 is the cost per mug, right? So this is what's called an average cost. This is the total cost.